Hey, what is up, everybody? Mike here, back with another episode, and I've got another guest with me today, someone that I've worked with since my freelance career started and has taught me a lot about the game, my fellow freelancer and creator, Tran. And we've talked for a pretty long time on this episode, so I actually split it up into two. This is just the first part, more so about his backstory and how he got started, what it was like to take a non-traditional route as a first-gen Asian American, and his trials and tribulations that got him to where he is today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit us up on Instagram. Otherwise, enjoy the episode.
Let's go.
All right, man. Welcome to the pod, sir. Welcome. Here we are, another episode of the Mic Check podcast. But this time, I got another Asian guy with me. It's my buddy. We've been working a lot together since my freelance career started. And he's taught me a lot of stuff. So I feel like you had a pretty interesting story about how you started, and you've been doing this a long time. So who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? Let's go through all that. What's up?
What's up, guys? My name is Toan. I'm a filmmaker. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an artist, a business owner, a freelancer, and definitely wear a lot of hats.
All the above.
All the above when it comes to filmmaking.
When someone asks you what your job is, do you go through all that?
I go, yeah, they say, like, what do you do? I'm like, yes.
You do it all. Dude, it's so true being a freelancer, man, working for yourself. It's so true.
Absolutely.
But how long you been doing it, bro?
Almost 12 years now.
Okay.
I checked back on my LinkedIn, dude, because that's when I first entered like my credentials and like everything that I did.
Yeah.
It's been 11 months and it's been 11 years and 8 months.
Wow, bro, dude.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, no, I remember like back in high school and college, you were like making videos from the start, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. 2008?
Yeah?
Yeah, 2008, 2009.
I think is when we met.
Yeah.
And you've been doing it ever since I've known you.
Yeah.
You just kind of been like that friend that has always done video, and like before I did like it in high school and stuff, but like, you know, watching you do your thing, I didn't know that you were going to do freelance, but it was cool to see someone else interested in video and then seeing your work get put out there and stuff like that.
Dude,
Since
that's
the
awesome.
start, bro. 10, 11 years ago, bro.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's awesome because
Throwback.
like I barely started. I started back in like when MySpace started like dying out.
Oh, yeah.
And then
like YouTube started getting more popular, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So like during like 2008 and 2009, that's when actually the DSLR revolution took off.
Oh, DSLRs.
Yeah. So it made everything much more affordable. Like we had to
Yeah.
step away from like tape. And then my friend he got his first like full frame 5D Mark II.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, there's a video button on here. Let's test that out. And we're like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like we can make some like cinematic looking movies on here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how we got started. And like pretty much like I was like I felt like I was like a pioneer when it came to like the DSLR revolution whenever it just like took off.
Yeah.
And it was cool because like we had just a different set of tools.
Right.
But it was still digital too. But it was basically like where analog started like dying off and then digital started taking over.
Yeah, so like before that, you were using like handy cams with like tapes and sometimes CDs. I don't know if it records direct to CDs.
Yeah, it was crazy too because like whenever I went to film school, which was actually like 4 years later, 3 or 4 years later, we were still like required to use like tapes. Yeah, it was like just like a requisite that we had to
even
to
though
do
digital was like taken over.
Exactly.
Yeah, in like 2012, 13, 14.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're so used to using like the SD cards.
Yeah.
Versus back then, it's like they had like these VHS tapes.
Yeah.
Like these mini DV tapes on a handy cam, and like granted, my first camcorder, it was a hard drive base, and it was like 120 gigs, and I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. You know, it was crazy.
Dude, we've come a long way, but. Yeah, man, it's a whole new ball game, and I feel like you've been through it from when those days were with the tapes all the way to digital now, and you've seen like the change in the landscape of how video content has become. It's evolved so much, especially within the last like 5-6 years with cameras and the technology that's available now.
For sure.
So you've been through it. And also like what people are interested in, like the type of content that you create. I don't know if you ever saw any difference in any of that, but I mean, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, the whole digital landscape has changed.
For sure. Yeah.
You know, just as a consumer, but you've been on the other side as a creator.
As a creator, yeah.
And seeing how that goes.
For sure.
It'd be cool to get your perspective on that later. Okay.
But yeah, just to preface, Mike.
Yeah.
So even though I've been doing it for almost 12 years, it took me a few more years to become actually a professional.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let's get into that, dude. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about too, is like your backstory.
Okay.
So I know that you've been doing it at least on the side since 2008 or maybe even earlier. But
yeah,
like that's when I started seeing your videos.
Yeah.
So you did it for fun.
Yeah, I did it for fun. Back when I was like 17.
Yeah.
This was like photography. This is in high school.
Yeah.
I was a junior in high school, and I just landed. I was in my counselor's office, and she was like, "What elective do you want to do? You have a free credit." And I was like, "Photojournalism? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
That sounds cool."
Okay.
So I took that class, and it basically opened up a whole new world for me.
Yeah.
It felt like I was actually doing something that I like to do.
Yeah.
Like it was like one of those things where you kind of pick up and you're just like drawn to it.
Yeah.
You just gravitate towards it and you don't know why.
Did you like cameras before that? Like was cameras your thing before that? Or like that's the first time you ever picked up a camera was in photojournalism?
Yeah, dude, that was like the first time like I cared about picking up a camera. I mean, before it was like, you pick up a camera. I picked up a camera and I was like, I didn't really think much to it.
Right.
Until I realized, like, when I took photojournalism, it's like what you could do with it.
Yeah.
And it was like, and that kind of like helped me segue into filmmaking. But honestly, like I did it on the side, and it wasn't like I showed everybody like what I was doing.
Right.
It was more just like a hobby that I kept for myself for like 2 or 3 years, man. Mm-hmm. So
just trying to learn.
Yeah, just trying to learn.
Yeah.
It was just like a really great hobby.
Did you gain anything from it?
Yeah, so some of the experiences that I've learned from photojournalism is the different angles, different focal lengths.
Okay.
A lot of basic principles when it came to like photography and telling a story. Mm-hmm. And whenever I took that class, basically like I would go out and just like explore and then figure out like what am I trying to say here in this like single frame. And the difference between like photo creating and then photojournalism. Journalism is pretty much like you take a photo and you basically live in that moment. There's no editing. There's no cropping.
Right.
Like it's
very raw.
It's very raw. Which I kind of liked because it really puts you in a present moment. So then it was like super focused. It made you like a better photographer.
Right.
I felt like
instead of worrying about like the whole post-production process.
Yeah. Like I
just take it as it is.
Absolutely.
It's good foundational stuff.
It's very good foundational stuff. Like you just take the photo and then you just kind of have it.
Right.
And but yeah, in editing, like dude, I was not a good photo editor. Let me tell you that. Like Photoshop was like I would just like put effects on it, and I thought they were cool.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, that's
we all did. There's those filters we kind of cringe at. You know, those editing styles we cringe at from our past.
Yeah, it's so funny because like I have these photos, and then I'll look at them, and I remember back then like putting on the filter, and I was like, oh my god, I'm creative.
Like this is so good. This is fire.
Yeah, bro. It was cool because nobody did them at the time because I was like 17,
Oh yeah.
And people were like, oh my god,
it's so good.
Yeah. But then I was like, thank you so much.
Hey man, there's a time and place for everything, especially for photo editing, man.
Yeah.
Cool. So you took a high school class. After high school, what did you do? Did you like experiment more? Did you like do stuff outside of school besides your projects or whatever?
Yeah. So actually my first creative outlet was breakdancing.
Oh, okay.
And that's was something that I was doing like that was taking up probably more of my time when it came to doing something like outside of school. Yeah. Outside of like a job. Yeah. So breakdancing, even though like when I look back at it, like breakdancing is another creative outlet that contributed to what I do now. The reason why is because as a breakdancer, you're moving your body, your physical, and then also like you're listening to music. So later on, I'll tell you more about the music part too.
Yeah.
And like the rhythm,
the creative process.
Yeah,
using music.
So yeah, I was breakdancing with the crew, doing photography on the side.
Were you filming them too, doing photography of breakdancing too, or?
No, I wasn't actually
it was
filming.
two separate things.
Yeah, it was two separate things. Like for some reason, like it was just like I just like took pictures of like the crew and whatnot, but I didn't really like advance any like further from that.
Okay.
You know, it was just more like at hobby level,
right,
kind of thing.
Two separate hobbies.
Yeah, two separate hobbies,
but both related in some way, where it involved like creativity and expression.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in some sort of art form.
Absolutely. And honestly, I didn't take photography too seriously. It was still like a hobby for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
It wasn't until around 2008 that my friend Prado took a class in video production. So he went to a different school than I did. I went to North Garland. He went to Berkner High School.
Shout out both schools.
Yeah, shout out both schools. But yeah, he basically was he also was another creative person.
Yeah.
But he was more into like the film world.
Yeah.
You know, and he was like introducing me to a bunch of different movies.
Nice.
He would involve me into his like video projects.
Yeah.
And that is whenever I bit the bug on the video world
side. So you were already into cameras at that point.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, a little bit.
Your buddy Otto, right?
Yeah.
He introduced you to the video side.
Yeah. So like 2007, I got like a handy cam and I kind of messed around with cameras.
Yeah.
And it was just like a hobby level as well.
Right.
But it wasn't until he showed me, like he involved me into a project, which is called a little short film called Toothbrush. And it was an excerpt taken from fmylife.com.
Oh.
So he involved me into that project with David Romeo. It's a friend from Austin.
Yeah.
Who was also into film.
Yeah.
And we came together and we created this very short film. And I actually played an actor in it.
Oh, okay.
So
were you behind the scenes as well, working, or you're just acting in this one?
Yeah, so I was acting in this one, but then like I was very involved in the creative process. Like I got to observe mostly and seeing how they worked. And the end product, whenever we saw everything together, edited through Sony Vegas like 8, I think. But yeah, I was like, this is so awesome. Like this is how you can create like videos, like a story in a video. And so from there, I was just like, I was so gung-ho about, you know, looking up videos up on YouTube and like trying to figure out like video, like just anything video related.
Yeah.
Like I just had to consume it.
You got the bug.
I got the bug.
You got consumed, and there wasn't a lot of content on like video production at the time.
No. Yeah, YouTube was brand new.
Yeah, so there wasn't a lot. I mean, I feel like everyone has their, like, even though we're in the same industry, like you started completely different in a different time too. Yeah. Where YouTube wasn't really established yet. So how did you learn?
Boy, I think like one of the first things that I looked into mostly, there was this email subscriber that I subscribed to called No Film School.
Oh, okay.
And No Film School was like probably like one of the greatest resource at that time. Besides YouTube, like YouTube was okay. Like there was like very little content.
Yeah.
And then also like you had Vimeo. Vimeo was another source of like content as well, but it was more for like exhibition. Like it wasn't like tutorial type stuff.
Right. It was just a show, like showcase work.
Yeah, showcase work. So I'd be really inspired by other creators as well.
You learn a lot from that too.
Yeah.
Like watching other people and how they edit and
Absolutely.
how they film.
Yeah. So either from, you know, actually doing it with like friends.
Yeah.
Vimeo was a good source, YouTube, and then also that email subscriber. Like that was, I remember that was like the only subscriber that I looked at.
Yeah.
Like that was film related.
Yeah.
Like everything else, like there wasn't a lot of like people like posting like email blasts, anything about film.
It's not as popular as it is now. It's become more accessible.
Yeah. Absolutely more accessible and almost like an essential thing to, especially with like social media.
Yeah.
It's like people starting to learn like the very basics and like picking that up and going full force in it.
It's important to create content now.
Absolutely.
Because we all have phones and having social media platforms.
Yeah, super accessible.
So if anything, it's helping us.
Yeah.
You know, create more business and more opportunities. So what did your parents, like being Asian American, we do have pressures from our parents to pursue stable careers and stuff like that. What was your experience with that? Did they force you to do anything, or like encourage you or nudge you in a certain direction?
Yeah, like they weren't forcing me to do anything, but they were just like heavily influencing me and suggesting, like what they do, what they're good at.
Yeah.
They were just like always try to put it into my headspace and like, you should do this, you should do that, and then they always like tell me the benefits of it, like making money, stable life, so you don't have to worry.
Right.
And it's probably for their sake, their sanity too, because they don't want to worry about us.
Right.
Because they didn't grow up with all these things, these opportunities that we have. So then they were suggesting those things so then that we can be better off.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
that makes sense.
But whenever like they were, influencing me to do these things, it actually pushed me away from doing all those things because I didn't want to do it.
Like it made you not want to do it even more.
Yeah, it was just like it just got to a point where it was like really uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And like I had no interest in it. Like I looked into it, but then I was like, could I see myself like being a doctor, being a lawyer, being a nurse? I mean, not to say like those aren't good professions. I mean, it's a great profession for anybody, but it just wasn't for me.
Or were you in college at that point?
Yeah, so at this point, I was like probably my first or second year of college.
Yeah. So it took you some time to kind of realize that wasn't for you, or did you know right off the bat like this? I'm not doing this.
Oh yeah, like absolutely. Like whenever I went to college, like I wasn't even thinking about pursuing those things that my parents like asked me to or suggested. Yeah. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And during that time, I tried like 6 different things, like changing my major 6 different times. So the first 3 was computer science. I looked into trying to become a chef. Culinary arts.
Culinary school.
Yeah, culinary arts.
Dang, Chef Toan.
The third one was the third one was like nutritionist.
Okay.
Or something with like the fitness industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see you doing that too.
Yeah, I mean that's fun too.
Yeah.
But all those things like I really like I didn't have like the patience or the love for it to like really like
learn about it,
pursue it. It was just more things of like I was just trying to find my interest in. Yeah. Yeah. And at this time, I was like really still doing photography and like video on the side. Right. Like on the weekends while I wasn't working at Costco, I was like editing, I was learning, and then I would take my camera and just go shoot. Yeah. And that's just something that I gravitated towards. It wasn't more of like every weekend you have to do this. Yeah. It was just more like when I had free time, dude, I was like, this is fun. I'm going to keep doing this. Yeah. It was just like super fun. It was a great hobby, but I wasn't like saying like I can make money off of this. Like I never thought about that. Right.
You loved it so much that you learned on your own.
Yeah.
So did you ever put the two together? Like I can do this as a career. Like when was that moment where you're just like, I could do this full time?
Yeah. So the aha moment actually came when I got expelled from community college.
You got expelled?
I got expelled.
What?
Yeah, expelled from community college.
Wait,
yeah.
So because of your grades?
Yeah, because I wasn't making good grades.
What?
I mean, you can go to class, but then like I went to class, but then I wasn't like doing great.
You weren't absorbing the information.
I was just making bad grades. Like I knew that I was really frustrated. Yeah. So a lot of my frustrations, like that was like all bottled up. So how I relieved that frustration was through film, was through photography. So awesome. it almost became like a therapeutic place for me, And that aha moment actually came whenever I got expelled from community college. Yeah. I got fired from my job at Costco. Pushing carts. Ooh. Yeah. And after that, like they gave me like my final check. Mm-hmm. And granted, I was like doing like video and like photography on the side as a hobby for like almost 2 years at that point. Okay. Every weekend. Yeah. Just like banging it out. Yeah. Doing whatever I could to learn. Yeah. But yeah, it came at that moment where it was like a tipping point. And it was a perfect blend of like fear and like passion. Because it was just like, hey man, like you really have to make a decision. You know what I'm saying? To go forward, like what else are you going to do?
You kind of got pushed into the corner there.
I did.
Had to make a decision.
I did for a little bit. And then I was just like, why am I not doing this for a living? why am I not? Like, if there are other filmmakers, other directors, feature film directors, all these creatives, they're doing it for a living. Why am I not doing this? And at that moment, I was like, let's go find out. Like, it was like, I'm going to do this. Yeah. I took my last check that I got from Costco, like all $500 for like 4 weeks of work. And I bought myself an editing machine.
Oh, you bought a computer.
I bought a computer.
Nice.
But it was basically like that investment that I had to make in order to basically burn my bridges to get to that next level.
It unlocked something for you.
Yeah. It unlocked something for me, and it was just like, it was a decision. Yeah. Like, no turning back.
Right.
And
so you committed.
I committed.
Yeah.
I absolutely committed.
That's awesome. Dude, that's dope. So you were scared.
I was scared.
But then you're also like, fuck it. I'm going to do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was super scared, bro.
Yeah. So you bought an editing machine.
Yeah.
Scared out of your life, like, what the hell am I gonna do?
But what was crazy for like a good minute, I wasn't scared of like going into filmmaking, making money, because I was fine with the struggles. I was more scared of what my parents were gonna think.
Oh, so how did they react?
Oh my gosh,
how did you tell them?
Honestly, I didn't tell them directly. It was just more of like, I kept buying things, or I kept doing filmmaking like related activities. And then it was just like, they were like, okay, what's going on here?
Did they know that you were expelled from school?
I don't think so. I don't know. Yeah.
So they didn't know that you failed?
No.
Or got expelled? And so you were just off doing your own thing, like making film or like pursuing film without them knowing? Yeah.
Like
because you weren't relying on them for anything at that point, were you? Or?
At that point, like, I was living with them.
Oh, you were living with them.
I was living with my parents.
And you were doing all this stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
they're probably wondering like, why isn't he going to class? Like,
yeah, my parents are so good to me, dude. They bought me like my first car, and like, I don't have to pay rent, and like,
so they weren't like the type to be like, if you don't do this, then we're gonna cut you off. They were like very supportive.
I mean, my mom would say that, but then she loved me so much that she would. My parents are really like, they're strict, but also like at the end of the day, like they would do anything for me.
Yeah, they love you. They care about you.
I appreciate that, Mom. Yeah. So if you're listening, I appreciate you for that.
She will listen to this.
Yeah.
So you had a little bit of support from your parents then?
Yeah. So my parents at first they didn't like it.
Yeah.
Like they were so shocked. They were like, oh my God, like it's like this field that they have no idea about. Yeah. And they're like this is not gonna work. Yeah. Like in their head, they're like, this is not gonna work.
They've never heard of it.
They don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. The only thing my mom knew was my uncle was actually a photographer. Yeah. But he was like 50 years old already. Oh. So they were probably
established.
Yeah, he's established. Yeah. So that was like another generation and a slightly different field too. Yeah. All different fields altogether, film and photography. But so my mom, like, she knew, like, she, like, out of the gate, she was like, you're like your uncle. So in a sense, she had confidence in me.
So she had hope because she saw it. Someone else, like in your family.
In my family.
Was it her brother, like uncle?
Yeah. It was like her older brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So even more so, like, confident.
Yeah. So it was like a glimmer. It was like a glimmer of confidence.
Okay. So even though that they were like, oh, like they're unsure about freelance video.
Yeah.
Like they still had that a little bit of confidence from your uncle.
Yeah, absolutely. From my uncle, but also the fact that they saw what I was doing. Yeah. Like they saw how active I was, and every
day creating stuff.
In creating stuff.
And learning.
Yeah. But here's the question too, like my mom kept me in check by every time I would do a film project, she would always say, hey, did you get paid? Did you get paid?
Oh, so she was keeping tabs on you.
She was keeping tabs on me.
I mean, rightfully so.
Yeah.
You living under her house.
Yeah, for sure.
Under her roof.
Yeah, for sure. Basically, my mom was saying, like, is this working for you? Is this working for you?
Did that add pressure onto you?
Like, it didn't.
Were you nervous?
No. Like, the way that I thought about it, I put it into perception. I was just like, I really love doing this. Yeah. This is like a long game for me. Yeah. I got to be patient. And I'm going to show how patient I am with this. Mm-hmm. So basically, like I told my mom every time she asked me that, I was like, Mom, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
This is going to take time.
So you were honest.
I was super honest.
Yeah,
like I didn't. Yeah.
Even if you didn't get paid, you told her, I didn't get paid, but I'll get there.
Yeah. And at the time, it was never about the money.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't really care of getting paid. I just wanted to do something that I really love.
Yeah.
And survive. That's it.
I mean, there's no choice.
That's it, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's either you make it or you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So putting that pressure on you really like drives you, I feel.
It absolutely did.
It?
Yeah. It pushed me to greater lengths. Like instead of like I would take like online classes, YouTube University. Have you heard of it?
I went there too, bro. I graduated class of 2017.
So yeah, like I started researching even more than I did. So at that time, after I got expelled from community college, I basically took a year off of school.
Oh, okay.
So I basically did like a whole year of like just like self-taught.
Right.
Like through reading like emails, through reading like websites.
Learning on your own.
Learning on my own.
Okay.
Going out there and like shooting like random things.
Yeah.
Like the videos are still on Vimeo. Like you can check it out later.
That's like one of the best ways to learn those, is to just dive into it.
Dive into it. Yeah.
And just get into it. Like even if you don't have a structure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just dive into it and see what you learn.
Yeah, and plus, like, I didn't have like all the friends that have like knew about filmmaking, so I would just like involve like my random friends into like these little projects, just to do it, just to get that experience. And they're like
much
totally
respect
cool
for that, dude. So the best way that you learned was doing it. Yeah, and then like you went to film school too, right?
Oh yeah, even before that, I actually got a gig.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh, it was like a paid gig.
A paid gig.
Oh, what'd you do?
So in 2011, I started doing wedding filmmaking.
Weddings.
Yeah. So remember that friend that I told you about named An?
Okay. Yes.
So he's a photographer,
Yeah.
and he found somebody that wanted a photo and video for Hindu weddings.
Oh. Okay.
So I started doing Hindu weddings on the side.
All right.
And that's whenever I became a professional. That's whenever I started actually like doing more
paid
shoots, paid work. Granted, I did a wedding like almost every like 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you started out, like you just hit the ground running with these Hindu weddings.
Yeah, it was like that plunge. It was just like, all right, let's
like
here's a gig. Here's a gig. Oh, let's do it.
After referral.
Yeah,
Is
no,
that how it worked,
no. It wasn't. It was basically we found this guy on Craigslist.
Okay.
Yeah. So my friend An found him on Craigslist.
What guy? Who is this guy?
His name is Partiv, and he had a company called Digital Shadi, which just means like Indian wedding or Indian Hindu wedding, Hindu digital.
Okay. Like filming Hindu weddings was what he did.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what he did. He was like a producer, he put together.
So he connected you to these Hindu weddings.
Basically.
And you filmed them, edited them.
Yeah. I filmed them. I edited them. I was the DP. I directed like the couples. I did same day edits.
Wow. That's tough.
So very, very like grueling, intense work.
But you were hungry.
I was super hungry. I was super hungry. And I was super skinny, and I was just like, hey,
like physically hungry.
It's like, yo, I need to eat and I need to learn. So sit down and do the work. Yeah, and it was a good gig. Like it was a great great stepping stone. Yeah, like since I did all that work, I learned so much.
To think on your feet.
To think on my feet.
Be tactical.
Yeah, and I was a solo shooter too. I didn't have like another second camera operator. I didn't have an editor. Like I was the whole.
Hindu weddings are crazy, huh?
Hindu weddings, they can be intense.
Just a lot of like things going on, a lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving parts. It's really festive. Yeah, it's really fun, really exciting, but also like a lot of work. But I loved it because like during that time, like a year into Hindu weddings, I finally was confident into going to film school, trade school. Yeah. So
after doing all that, you were like, I'm doing film school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like after that, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to something that's more formal now. After 2 years of like being self-taught, it was like taking the plunge to like, find like continued like learning and education.
Was film school always a part of your choice or your path, or was that something that like you were like, crap, I need training now, like I need formal training?
Or it wasn't. At that time, I think like it wasn't a necessity for me because at that time I felt like I was like going in the right path. Yeah. But then like all the all the unstructuredness and like all the lessons that, you know, you kind of put together yourself from like YouTube and like all these websites. Yeah. I think that was whenever it wasn't clicking. Yeah. Like there needed to be some type of like structure. Cause at the time I was like, one side of the coin was maybe I don't need film school. So I was looking to videos and like getting advice from people that, hey, you don't need to go to film school. Oh, you can just do this.
People were already telling you, yeah.
Yeah, so one of those inspirations was Robert Rodriguez. He didn't go to film school. He's from Austin. Yeah. Made like films by himself.
Some epic,
and did
like,
this.
award-winning films.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's people that do go to film school. Yeah. You know, they make it big too. You know, it's like they do fine.
It's successful either way.
Yeah, successful either way. It's all how you take it in. Right. It's all how you take that experience in, the resources, and then you make it into your own. Because at the end of the day, you're a filmmaker. You know, you're the artist, not the school. You know, it's all how you take in that experience.
True. That's very true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people complain like if after film school it didn't make me didn't give me a job, didn't give me do this. It's like,
yeah, it doesn't get handed to you.
Yeah, it's not handed to you. You know, I feel like nothing's handed to you. It's all like all about the work that you put in and like what you make out of it. So whenever I went to like film school, I already had like a gig. I already had like gigs going on for like the Hindu weddings, and that was like the thing that was like keeping me like alive, basically.
Yeah, paying your bills. Yeah, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it really put into perspective for me on how film, like the process works. Okay. You know what I mean? But it was like, at first I was like, I didn't really like it. Really? Because
you were back at school.
Yeah, it was a shock. Yeah. It was a shock again because like I was back at school, but it was different this time because I loved showing up. Yeah. I love showing up to film school.
That's awesome.
Not school itself. Right. But I love showing up to learn about film. Yeah. I was so passionate.
Dude, that's awesome.
Like I felt like I had no problems attending. Like
you felt like you belonged there.
I felt like I belonged there. Yeah. And there was like a group of like 6 or 7 kids in there.
That's it?
It was in your class? It was a really small class.
Wow. Yeah. And you guys did everything together.
We did everything together.
I didn't know it was that small.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a very focused like film school.
Wow. You know? Okay, cool. So it was pretty much like, you know, one-on-one type of learning with your mentors and your professors.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and it lasted for like a whole year.
1 year.
Yeah, one whole year, very intense, very accelerated.
No breaks?
No breaks.
Just film for one whole year.
Yeah, like very little breaks. Yeah. Like maybe like for Christmas you get like a week off.
Dang.
You know? Yeah. And then like another week off and then that's it.
Wow.
But it was like 6 to 7 hours a day.
What film school was this?
Media Tech
in Dallas here?
Yeah, in Dallas.
Oh man. I'm sure they're more established now. I mean, it's been so many years.
Yeah, they've changed.
You took it there. Yeah, bigger classes and stuff.
For sure.
So how did you pay for film school? Like, because I know you wanted to go. There's got to be tuition. Yeah. And you were grinding it out with Hindu weddings. Did you pay for it yourself or?
No, actually not at first. I didn't pay for it myself because I actually took a student loan.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So that was like the thing that like funded it.
Nice.
But my dad co-signed and like was basically the credit person. Mom and dad, was the credit person to front it.
Was that hard for them to fork up? Like, or were they just like, yeah, whatever you need, like let's just do it, put you through film school, and let's get this loan and co-sign?
The cost of the film school at that time was like $25,000.
Wow.
I actually had another option in mind, and that was actually going to Full Sail.
Full Sail.
Yeah, Full Sail is basically it's a film school, but it's a much larger film school in Florida.
Okay.
And a lot of like recognizable names have gone through that school and like do excellent work.
Yeah.
You know, they have a lot of resources. Their facility is huge, but the tuition was minimum like $75,000.
Oh, how long was that program?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, and you get like a film like bachelor's.
Okay, so you actually get a degree. Yours didn't?
No.
Provide a degree, not even an associate's or anything?
No. I just got like a certification.
Okay. Yeah. Just basically like training.
Training. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, like that school was like way expensive. At the end of the day, it would have been like $100,000.
Yeah, because you would have to have moved and pay rent and more expenses in Florida.
Yeah, and it was just like it was basically like a mortgage, and my parents were like they didn't qualify for that.
So they did try to get you to Full Sail.
They did, dude.
Wow.
We actually flew to Florida. We checked out the school.
Dang.
We talked to the advisors, the counselors, and everything.
Just like an actual college.
Like an actual college. Like I got there and I applied and I actually got a scholarship for it.
Nice.
Yeah, I got like a $10,000 grant to go there, but
Dope.
it still wasn't enough. Like it still wasn't enough to be like, yo, like my parents like applied for it. I got a $10,000 scholarship. Okay, it's something's working. And then it was like, no, you're not. You can't take out $90,000.
Oh man, yeah.
And it's just like, okay, let's look at other options.
Yeah, other options. And then that's when you came across Media Tech in Dallas.
Yeah. So my parents actually went with me. We went to Media Tech, and I was like, okay,
this is good.
I like this.
Cool.
Let's do this.
Nice.
And then from there, it was just like history. Like I would go there 6 hours a day and 6 or 7 hours a day. And I learned so much. Like first semester was like documentary, like filmmaking.
Dope.
We got a camera.
Yeah.
You edit it on like mini DV tapes, and then you put it together through like Final Cut.
Yeah.
Not Final Cut X. Not Final Cut X. Final Cut 7.
Oh man.
Yeah. The older Final Cut.
Throwbacks. We're talking about throwbacks here.
So like, you know, like it's cool because like I'm just like I'm thrown into the fire.
Yeah.
You know, some of those kids were new. Some of those kids like you know they had some experience. I was one of those kids that had like that self-taught experience. Like I was doing it already. You know,
some of them were just fresh, like they don't know anything.
Yeah. Like they were just trying it, and I was like, whoa, like dude, that's a lot of money to just try something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because that's what you were doing in community college. You're trying things.
Yeah, I was trying things. They were doing
that in a trade school.
Yeah. So I was really fortunate to, you know, have the experience that I did because I clicked right in.
Right.
You know,
it was easy. You had an advantage.
I felt like I had a little bit of an advantage.
Dope.
Like even before film school, I had looked up to a student at Full Sail.
Yeah.
That's how I knew about Full Sail. Like these kids that went to Full Sail. Casey Chan from Just Kidding Films.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to him through like Messenger on Facebook. And
Dope.
he was like a great inspiration for me. The reason why is because I would actually show Casey the stuff that I was working on. So that gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like something to share and to get feedback on.
Yeah.
Like relatively.
From someone who's been doing it.
Yeah, someone who like was in that school.
Right.
And like graduated.
That's dope.
You know, so he was basically like a senior.
Nice.
You know, my senior, like somebody I looked up to.
Cool. And you met him online?
Yeah. I met him through a mutual friend, because we had a mutual friend that was into photography.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew Casey.
Okay.
Yeah, like me and Casey like met up like one time and we actually like talked and stuff.
Dope.
It was super cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. Now he's like doing big things with JK Films, right?
Yeah, JK Films, and he's like doing his new thing with his wife and his kid.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really cool.
They're cute.
Yeah. During that time, whenever I was in school, I actually started up a production company. Called Loaded Productions. With my friend Philip, Johnny, and then Andrew.
Nice.
And later on Cameron. So we had 6 members on our team.
Everybody into film.
Yeah.
And photography.
Yeah. We were just like, you know, trying to figure out like what can we do as a production company? Yeah. You know, all of our skills, whether it's design, marketing, photography, it's like video. It's like we did it. And it was intense. Yeah. Like every day was intense because, you know, 6 hours of school and then on the side it's like I'm in like a company. Yeah. You know? So it was very intense. Like I was super busy.
Dude, you were itching to like just keep working. Like you didn't even just focus on film school only. Like you were doing other stuff related to film outside of it. So you were like consuming film stuff all the time.
All the time. Yeah, I lived it, breathed it for weeks, for months, for that entire year. But it was great because it really just like made me into a better filmmaker. Yeah. It's like it really put that pressure on. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, I really didn't feel tired because my passion was something that drove you. And it was just like I had so much fun that I didn't want to stop. Yeah. You know, like I didn't think about being tired, like, oh man, I got to go do this.
Right. You didn't feel like it was a burden.
No.
You wanted to wake up and do it.
Yeah. It like revitalized me. It kept me going.
It's
like
the best feeling.
It's amazing.
When you find something that you love to do.
Yeah.
And you wake up in the morning, you're like, damn, life is good.
Like I get to do this.
You get to do this. Yeah. It's very cool to be able to do what you like instead of thinking like I have to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very different feeling.
Different feeling.
Yeah.
Totally. Remember the 7 students?
Yeah.
In the beginning?
Oh.
It dwindled down to 4 students.
Oh man.
Yeah. Because first semester usually is like, the students either
they know.
They know
if they're like into it or not.
Yeah.
Damn, do they get refunds?
No.
Probably not.
They don't.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you drop out of any school, you don't get any refund.
Yeah.
Yeah, so especially the school.
I graduated as a valedictorian.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Because I made good grades. Yeah. I attended school. I basically showed up every day.
You get an A.
I basically showed up every day.
Yeah.
Did what I did.
Yeah.
Because I was just so zoned in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That experience was pretty awesome. Like because all those people saw it, and like even after like film school, like I feel like I'm really the same filmmaker, but I can do things just faster. Because I don't have to think about too much like technical stuff. Right,
because you already know it.
Yeah.
It's like second nature.
Yeah.
So do you think that's like one of the benefits of film school? If anybody's considering it, like what would be the benefits of going through film school versus not?
So film school really provides like resources and it provides a network, a support system.
Okay.
A support system is super important whenever you have something that you want to do in the long run.
Yeah.
Because that's going to accelerate you to the next level.
Yeah.
Your friends and your families, your peers, your colleagues, your mentors, like all those people are going to make your life a lot easier. Because without a support system, it's hard to grow.
Yeah.
Like you don't know like what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong.
That's true. Feedback.
Feedback loop. You don't get that feedback,
Yeah. And also like, I feel like moral and emotional support too.
Exactly.
Like people who are invested emotionally into your goals.
Yeah.
Like whether it be family, friends, or mentors.
Yeah.
It's good to have someone to nudge you in that direction.
Absolutely. And all your like my peers and my colleagues, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Like we went to film school, we paid this much amount of money, so we're invested.
Right.
Everyone's
like in the same struggle.
Everybody's in the same struggle.
Yeah. So there's some camaraderie there.
Absolutely.
It's a brotherhood.
Yeah, it's a brotherhood for real.
Yeah.
Like the crew is your crew is your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
It was great to have like a family like that to support you in that journey.
Film school provided you those things to support the network,
the resources,
the skills.
Yeah, the skills,
technical skills.
Like they taught us. It was a technical school. They didn't want to be too subjective because they wanted you to express your creativity
on your own. Like they just provide you that foundation of like about film, and then the creative part is up to you.
Yeah, the creative part is up to you, but as long as you follow like a lot of technical things like leading up to that.
Yeah. Because I feel like that's what I learned from you when I was starting out, coming from someone who's learned from YouTube and like a videography class in high school.
Yeah.
Like you taught me a lot of structure. Yeah. Technical structure. And like how to do things in terms of pre-production, and then on set too. Like how do you set that up and stuff like that. So I have taken some of your film school, skills and incorporated in my thing too.
Oh, yeah.
And it's helped me.
That's awesome.
So that's why I'm just like, that's cool that because you went through it. There's a lot of freelancers that don't, but you benefited from it.
Yeah. Like it's whatever you make of it, man.
Yeah.
It's whatever you make of the things that you have at that time.
Yeah.
And then take from it. What was the thing that you learned most? What was the takeaway?
Yeah.
And to me, like film school was something that I needed because I didn't have a lot of structure. I was very
You're flying blind.
Yeah, I was flying blind. I was floating. Like I was like purely a creative. Yeah. And then film school like helped me get that structure.
So after film school, you graduated. You walked away with all these skills and network and the support. What did you do after film school?
At that time, I joined up with a production house called Agora Entertainment.
Okay, so you became part of another team.
Yeah, I was the PA for everything. Like I came in there as an editor, came out as like a PA and
production
like
assistant,
everything. Like it was cool. It was basically school again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like the assistant editor. Like I would do the first pass on many things.
Okay.
I would help set up cameras.
Yeah.
I would shoot like audition videos because we did like unscripted reality shows and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
So like the smaller jobs, they would let me like, you know, have a little bit more responsibility.
Nice.
But the bigger stuff, I would like, you know, PA, coffee getter, write things on like notepads, you know, make sure things are like coordinated and on time and stuff like that. It's a lot of admin stuff.
Got to go through the ranks.
Yeah, so I was a little fish in a big pond. But I loved it. I needed it, you know, because after film school, you're like, oh yeah, I'm a valedictorian. I'm a cinematographer now. You know, like I get, you know, like it kind of puts me into like my place again.
Yeah, because now you're on your own.
Yeah. It was definitely humbling.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you learned a lot.
Again, I learned a lot. Like it was like 3 days a week. So it was like going through the ranks again, man. But it was cool, man. Yeah, it was cool because like now I'm in a working environment with like actual professionals with like bigger budgets.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm a student again.
You saw what that was like.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool to be a part of a production team and like, again, learn structure.
Yeah.
Learn how a whole team works together as opposed to being a solopreneur.
So yeah, during that time, I started with my 6 friends. We did Loaded Productions, and then we started Loaded Weddings. So we started doing weddings again. Okay. So no more Hindu weddings. Mm-hmm. We started doing Vietnamese and Vietnamese American weddings.
Oh. Yeah. That's a whole nother beast.
But
it was more so like something that you could relate to a little bit because you've been to some Viet weddings at that time? Because you're Vietnamese too, right?
I'm Vietnamese, yeah.
So you understand a little bit about the traditions and the process.
Yeah, so I understood a little bit more about the, you know, the cultures, the ceremonies that they had. And like after a while, like it, like all my friends, they actually started, they actually lived in Texas, but then they moved to California. Oh. So Loaded Productions and Loaded Weddings, like split. At that time, like dissolved. You know, it was pretty much like the end of a good chapter. Right. You know what I mean? Like everybody
grew.
Yeah, everybody
in their
grew.
own way.
Yeah.
That's cool though. Like that you guys banded together and were able to do all that, and then learned from it and moved on. You know, you guys grew from that and did something else.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that wraps up the 3rd episode of the Mic Check podcast with my man Tran. If you guys want to tune in for the second part, feel free to follow the Mic Check podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.